Good morning, everyone. Meteorologist Bill Rentschler in the 1011 Now streaming studio. It is a wet and windy start to our Thursday across the state, including here in Lincoln. We've seen just rain to start the day thus far, but that could be changing as we head throughout the morning hours. Have a couple different video sources here plugged into our stream right now. Top right box there is Lincoln Sky View. Again, you can see visibility's decent here in Lincoln. See Lincoln traffic cameras right below me there. Streets are wet as we start our Thursday, and we can see the high resolution radar precipitation depiction in the bottom right. And again, right now, seeing just a little bit of a break in the moisture in Lincoln and across parts of Lancaster County, but I do think more moisture is on the way. So we're live right now this morning on YouTube as well as on the 1011 Now live stream. I'd encourage everyone to make sure you go subscribe to our YouTube channel and turn on those notifications so you can get notified when we do go live. We'll likely be on and off of here through the morning hours, kind of detailing the weather and what we have going on. Again, at least for right now, things are fairly settled here in the capital city, but again, I think things do get a little bit dicey as the morning wears on. So there we go. Get all of our graphics put in there. So we'll go through kind of the current conditions that we have across the area and still go over what we're expecting in terms of snow through the day today, in terms of those falling temperatures, in terms of actual just liquid precipitation that we could see across the area. As again, it looks like it's going to be a wet Thursday, cold Thursday, a windy Thursday. Again, things going to kind of slap us in the face today, especially after we had temperatures in the 60s and low 70s yesterday. Again, Lincoln yesterday reaching 70 degrees for the first time since early November of last year. So we'll go ahead and we'll get our weather graphics just pulled up here. Give it a second. We want this. There we go. Okay, so again, just taking a look and looking at Lincoln traffic cameras. Like I mentioned, streets are just wet right now here in the capital city. So the morning commute, if you're heading out, is okay. Again, so give yourself a little bit of extra following distance. But again, the streets are just wet right now. There's a look at 84th and Cornhusker. Right now, and again, you can see traffic looks like it's moving okay right there this morning. 27th and Nebraska Parkway. Again, you can kind of see streets are wet. So give yourself a little extra following distance. You'll have to have the wipers on here, even as we do have that break in the precipitation. So streets just wet in Lincoln this morning. And again, it is breezy. The front has passed through Lincoln. Our winds have already swung around to the north. Temperatures dropped about 10 degrees from the 6 o'clock hour to the 7 o'clock hour. So again, temperatures will be dropping quickly. Again, these systems tend to always move through a little bit earlier than we think, and so temperatures already down to the middle and upper 30s. Good possibility that we maybe see a change over to snow a little bit earlier than we had expected, but again, the system's moving through so fast, we may not have enough time to really put much accumulating snow on the ground. Here's a live look at sky cams from across the state. Again, kind of a couple different scenarios going on. Again, in Lincoln, it's wet, kind of cloudy, kind of gray as we start our Thursday. Same deal in kind of Grand Island, Hastings, Kearney. Again, in Kearney, you can see some water on the lens there. 32, though, the temperature at the Kearney airport, as that north wind is gusting to 33 miles an hour, making it feel like 18. So that may actually be a little bit of ice on that camera lens there. In Kearney, in O'Neill, they've had snow. I remarked yesterday that we could finally see the ground in O'Neill because it feels like it's taken so long for their snow to melt and for us to finally actually see bare ground. But we put more snow down on the ground now in O'Neill. They've seen that accumulating snow. Again, we expected some of the heavier snow to be across north central, northeastern Nebraska. So far, that's played out. 27 right now in O'Neill. Winds gusting to 30, though, makes it feel like 13. And with the ongoing snow, visibility is down to 1.5 miles right now up in O'Neill. So again, depending on where you are, travel conditions this morning kind of range from decent to not so great. I think that'll be the case as we head throughout the morning hours and into the early afternoon. Even after all the moisture is done, it's still going to be so windy later this afternoon, even into this evening. We could still be dealing with some areas of blowing snow, reduced visibility, and certainly any high profile vehicles today could have tough tough going, especially on I-80, because we're going to have a wicked north crosswind throughout most of the day today. Here's a look at the observed precipitation. Again, this is liquid precipitation so far today. Again, in Lincoln, it hasn't been much thus far at the Lincoln Airport. It's just 1/100th of an inch. If I pull up really quickly here at the studio, 6/100ths here at 1011 Studios at 40th and Vine. If I pull up my house over in East Lincoln, I've had 11/100ths so far today. So again, maybe around anywhere from a few hundredths to maybe around 1/10 of an inch of moisture so far this morning in Lincoln. Same deal kind of across Grand Island, Hastings, and Kearney. Almost 2/10 in North Platte, almost 3/10 in Ogallala across western Nebraska. Road conditions, again, for most of central and eastern Nebraska, especially south central Nebraska, roads are just wet so far this morning. We're still kind of waiting for that transition over to a wintry mix and then eventually some snow. It's going to happen sooner as you head further west. But those areas that have already seen snow across parts of the Sandhills in the north central Nebraska, roads completely to partially covered out there with snow. So again, take it slow as you head out the door this morning. Conditions could be tough over the next several hours. So we do still have winter weather advisories, winter storm warnings that are in place across much of central and into northeastern Nebraska. Again, Lincoln, Lancaster County, southeastern Nebraska still not included in any of these winter weather headlines, but these are in effect now and last through Thursday evening for parts of central Nebraska. Looks like through about either late tonight, so 7 p.m. or 1 a.m. is when these expire for the winter storm warning, for the winter weather advisory for Ainsworth down to North Platte. That runs through 7 p.m. this evening. That winter weather advisory in eastern Nebraska looks like it runs through 1 a.m. That winter weather advisory for Grand Island and southern parts of the state runs through 7 p.m. this evening. Again, not expecting a huge amount of snow necessarily, but again, the combination of snow, the combination of snow and blowing snow, wind, a little bit of ice, is just going to make for some pretty tough conditions. So again, Lincoln not included in anything right now. That certainly doesn't mean our weather isn't going to go downhill here as we head through the morning into the early afternoon. But it's these areas, especially the winter storm warning areas, that we expect the greatest impacts from this system that's moving through. So again, the snowfall potential, you kind of notice the greatest snowfall potential matches up with those areas that are under the winter storm warning. 3 to 5 inches of snow right now is where we're going. Again, meteorologist Melissa Meter updated this morning. She had said, I spoke with her before I came on, that it looked like some of the models were maybe trending just a little bit down with some of the higher end snow. So we're going to go 3 to 5 for areas like Norfolk, O'Neill, down towards Ord, towards Wayne, 1 to 3 inches from Ainsworth to Valentine, down to Thedford, North Platte, over towards near McCook, Grand Island, Hastings, up towards Columbus. In Lincoln, we're still expecting a trace to an inch of snow. But again, you can see that 1 to 3 inch line kind of goes right through northern Lancaster County. So I wouldn't be surprised if maybe we saw an inch, inch and a half, maybe close to 2 inches just off to our north. North of the capital city. So if you look at the 6 main weather models that we use, again, this is for Lincoln specifically. Again, you can see this is why we're pretty comfortable with the trace to 1 inch range for our snowfall. Again, the highest is 2.5 inches from the American GFS model. Everything else coming in between a few tenths of an inch to around an inch of snow. But again, we are going to see some. We were always likely going to see more rain than we were snow. And again, even some of our liquid precipitation models have kind of trended down just a little bit. Again, we've had maybe a few hundredths to maybe around 1/10 of an inch in Lincoln. Looks like we could see maybe another 1/10 to maybe 2 or 3 tenths of an inch of moisture as we head over the next several hours as the system moves through the area. Here's a look at the current visibility. If we go through some of the current conditions, again, you can see where it is snowing right now. It is across parts of kind of central western Nebraska. That's where we have the lowest visibility right now. We showed you that sky view shot of O'Neill, where their visibility is down to 1.25 miles, 1.5 miles in Ainsworth, 1.75 miles in Broken Bow, 3 miles in Thedford, 2 miles in Lexington, 7 miles in North Platte, where we're just seeing some rain right now. Tacoma, Omaha, visibility down to 3 miles. Visibility here in Lincoln down to 7 miles. So again, not terrible. And so like I've mentioned already a couple times, travel conditions across the state kind of vary from decent to not so great, and the visibility map kind of reinforces that. Temperatures, 8 a.m. Again, these should be the 8 a.m. readings, down to 37 now here in Lincoln. Still in the I'll say mid 40s for Beatrice, Nebraska City, Falls City. But again, you can see the cold air just rushing in. It's 37 in Lincoln and Omaha, 32 in York, 30 in Albion, 27 in Broken Bow, 25 in Ainsworth. So again, that cold air is just going to continue to push through the area as we head through the day today. I'm going to pull up for Lincoln our temperatures over the last 24 hours, because I think this will be an interesting graphic. So this is the last 24 hours in Lincoln. We reached 70 yesterday afternoon with those windy conditions. At midnight, our temperature was 52. That's going to be our high for the day today. You can see that front move through between 5 and 6 a.m. So temperatures went from upper 40s at 5 to the upper 30s at 6. And we're going to continue to see those temperatures fall through the morning into the early afternoon, maybe staying steady for a few hours in the low 30s this afternoon before we continue to drop into the 20s by late tonight. And then, again, the cold conditions look to continue, unfortunately, into Friday and the upcoming weekend. So again, there's a look at temperatures across the state. These numbers compared to this time yesterday. Again, you can see the cold air moving in, 10 to 15 degrees colder across parts of north central Nebraska. This map is going to continue to get very blue as we head through the day today, as we see the cold air rush in. Winds behind the front are breezy. They're only expected to increase, though, right now for most areas out of the north at about 10 to 20 miles an hour. There are a few spots where it's even stronger than that, up to around 30 miles an hour sustained in North Platte, as well as Holdridge and Kearney. Wind gusts right now anywhere between 25, 35, 45 miles an hour. And again, I think the strongest winds are expected as we head into this afternoon. We could see winds gusting 45, maybe 55 miles an hour. So even with a little bit of snow and we have winds this strong, it could create areas of blowing snow, reduced visibility, and again, continue to impact those travel conditions across the state. So here's a look at the radar. I also overlaid the current weather conditions. I know it might be kind of hard to see, but just so you can kind of tell who's seeing precipitation and where and what kind of precipitation. Right now, light snow being reported in Valentine, Ainsworth, O'Neill, looks like Wayne, Ord, Thedford, North Platte, Lexington, McCook, and Kearney. Nothing being reported as of right now or at the top of the hour at Holdridge, Hastings, Grand Island, Albion. Looks like mixed precip, maybe a little bit of freezing rain, sleet in Norfolk. Looks like just rain in Tacoma, Omaha, Nebraska City, Beatrice, and light rain drizzle being reported in Lincoln as of 8 o'clock. So again, mixed bag of precipitation across the state. If I take off those observed weather icons again, you can see a little bit of a gap in the radar. If I'm going to force this to just stop looping. So a little bit of a gap in the radar here across parts of Lancaster, Saline, Seward, Jefferson counties down towards Gage County. So a little bit of maybe of a break in the precipitation, at least for an hour or two in these areas, including here in Lincoln. But again, we have more moisture back to the west. All of this is going to continue to work to the east as we head through the morning. And again, we've been talking the last couple days about that transition line from rain to snow and where that was going to set up. And again, you can see it's kind of running from up near Wayne, down near Columbus, Grand Island, Hastings, and then kind of back into southwestern Nebraska. That's that transition from rain to a wintry mix to snow. And that transition line, as temperatures continue to fall, is going to continue to work its way kind of to the south and to the east as all the precipitation itself continues to slide to the east. So again, I think in Lincoln through the next several hours, we're dealing with mainly just rain, but I think as we head towards the late morning, mid to late morning, we could be close enough to that freezing mark where we see that transition to a wintry mix. And then eventually to snow. So again, we talked about this again yesterday as well. Roads are wet this morning with the rain we've already had. As temperatures continue to fall, we could see those roads freeze. And then on top of those potentially wet, icy roads, you could add just a little bit of ice, a glazed, maybe 1/100 of an inch or two of ice. And then on top of that, we could add just a little bit of snow, that trace to an inch, a few tenths of an inch of snow All that in combination with the strong winds going to make for very potentially slick conditions out there, especially on side streets, untreated streets, sidewalks, parking lots, things like that. And then when you throw in the potential for blowing snow as well, reduced visibility, again, today's just really not going to be that great of a day. So if we zoom in, take a look at southeastern Nebraska. Again, in Lincoln, just a little bit of moisture, but it is moving out right now, so I think we're going to see at least a brief break in the rainfall in Lincoln before we see more moisture arrive here in the next hour. We run you through SkyCast. Again, this is at 9 a.m., so this is an hour ahead of where we are right now. And again, I think it's doing a fairly decent job. It has that little bit of a break in the moisture kind of around Lincoln and Lancaster County, but as we slowly kind of step through time, we see that fill back in with that potential for a little bit of a wintry mix, eventually transitioning to a little bit of snow as we head towards the late morning into the early afternoon. But again, the system moves through so quickly by mid to late afternoon. Most of the snow, I think, is probably east of Lincoln, still maybe lingering across far southeastern Nebraska. Certainly, as we head towards this evening, as that system moves out of the area, we should see moisture come to an end, and the sky is actually clearing out by late tonight. All the meanwhile, again, it's going to be a breezy to windy day. Again, these are our future wind gusts. By the noon hour, I think most of central and eastern Nebraska is gusting 30, 40 to close to 50 miles an hour. The strongest wind gusts are expected into the afternoon. Again, 40 to 50 mile an hour wind gusts straight out of the north. So again, if you're traveling on I-80 today, even if you're traveling in those areas, again, where it's done snowing and done precipitating, you're still going to have a pretty good crosswind. So travel conditions could be pretty tough, especially for those high-profile vehicles and those semis. As we head towards late tonight, the wind expected to die down a little bit. By 8 o'clock, winds gusting 25, 35 miles an hour, but unfortunately the wind is just going to kind of stick with us, and it's going to be a problem even as we head into the day on Friday. Not as strong, but still on the breezy side as we head into your Friday afternoon. Here's a look at where we think temperatures are going to go. Future temperatures, again, we're looking at right now, again, temperatures 20s, 30s, 40s. But they're going to continue to fall as we head through the morning. By the noon hour in Lincoln, we're around that freezing mark. So again, that's where we're talking about that transition from rain to snow, potentially a little bit of snow, a little bit of ice mixed in there as well. Into the afternoon, temperatures kind of settle in right around that freezing mark by 4 o'clock this afternoon. We're looking at temperatures across the state, upper 20s, low 30s, but with that north wind potentially gusting 40 to 50 miles an hour, we're talking wind chills likely, maybe single digits, teens, and low 20s across the region. So if you have to be out and about today, not only, again, do you need to be prepared for the moisture, but you need to be prepared for the cold as well. By 10 o'clock tonight, temperatures continue to drop. We're looking at most areas with readings in the 20s to near 30 degrees. Low temperatures then as we head into, I skipped Friday. Low temperatures as we head into Friday morning. Look like this, low 20s across the state. These are a few degrees below average, but again, a little bit of a breeze, going to feel even colder. Friday afternoon high temperatures stay well below normal. Our normal high should be in the low to mid 50s this time of year. And on Friday, we're in the upper 20s to upper 30s, some low 40s in southern Nebraska. Even colder weather Saturday morning, upper single digits, lower to middle teens. Another reinforcing shot of cold air on Friday into Saturday will bring us even, I think our coldest high temperatures of the next week, low 20s to low 30s on Saturday. Again, that is 20 to 30 degrees below normal for mid to late March. So feeling awfully January-like to start the weekend. Sunday morning, I think we're in the single digits and teens again, so another very cold start. Sunday afternoon, temperatures begin to rebound just a little bit, upper 30s to low to mid 40s for Sunday afternoon. The extended forecast, looks like this. Again, we're basically cold through the weekend, dealing with wind, especially today, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Cold high pressure kind of moves overhead, so the wind should be lighter, plenty of sunshine. And then on the back end of that high pressure system, temperatures warm back up early next week to start astronomical spring. We're looking at low to mid 50s Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, some small chances for rain. But again, even those low to mid 50s early next week are a few degrees below average. So on this map, on this graphic here, the only above average temperature that I really see is the 39 for a low Wednesday morning of next week. Otherwise, everything else is below average. So unfortunately, the cooler than normal weather set to continue, and again potentially continue past that towards the end of the month. As you look at the 8 to 14 day temperature outlook from the Climate Prediction Center, it would favor cooler than normal conditions. So that's kind of a look at what's going on now. Like I said, we're going to kind of be popping on and off throughout the morning hours today, just kind of giving everyone the latest updates on kind of what's happening. I pull up the satellite and radar picture again here. You can see at least a little bit of a break in the moisture arriving in Lincoln and Lancaster County. But we do still have more rain, mixed precipitation, and some snow that's expected to move into the area later this morning. Still have those winter weather advisories, winter storm warnings that are in place across much of central into northeastern Nebraska. Again, those winter storm warnings from Broken Bow up towards O'Neill, over towards Norfolk, back down towards Ord. Those are the areas that we're expecting the heaviest snow, the greatest impacts with this system. Lincoln, Lancaster County, southeastern Nebraska, not under any kind of winter weather headline at this time. And again, that total snowfall forecast, those heaviest snow amounts stay in the northeast, 3 to 5 inches. Trace to an inch is what we're expecting in Lincoln and southeastern Nebraska. But again, we could see wet roads, freeze. We could add a little bit of ice, and then even just a few tenths of an inch of snow is enough of a recipe to make for some pretty slick conditions out there throughout the day today. And again, couple that with the wind and the falling temperatures. And again, I've said it a couple times, but today just really doesn't look like it's going to be a very nice day for us at all. So again, we'll let you go for now, but like I mentioned, we'll continue to pop on throughout the morning and bring you updates. I'll eventually grab meteorologist Melissa Meter and probably pull her over here to kind of talk about what she's seen this morning. Later this afternoon, Chief Meteorologist Ken Chimick will be on, and we'll kind of talk about what's going on. But I appreciate everyone tuning in to watching. As always, again, we'll continue to bring you the latest news, weather, sports updates from the 1011 Now streaming studio. Please make sure you keep it tuned to 1011 on air and online for all of your news, weather, and sports needs. Otherwise, again, hope everyone has a safe morning. Again, if you're going to be out and about, again, make sure you give yourself plenty of time. Make sure you're dressing warm today. Again, it's just going to be kind of a raw day out there. So hope everyone stays safe and has a nice Thursday, and we'll talk to you again soon.